After 70 years of atheistic communism, God caused the new Ukrainian government to give us back this beautiful historical site.
I'm so happy and I'm so grateful. You know, I couldn't believe it. It's just incredible.
When we first came to Odessa, someone pointed out to me the old historic church building in the center of the city.
This work was done in 1897 by Viktor Alexandrovich Schroeter, and it received the Architectural Award. Since it was designed to be a church, I believe that is what it should be today.
Built by believers of German and French heritage, it was dedicated to God's glory in the year 1900. Somehow it survived the destruction. Under communism, it housed a puppet theater. The pulpit was torn off the wall. The outside decayed, and the worship hall was desecrated and neglected.
Said the Lord to the prophet Ezekiel, "They have devoured lives, they have taken treasures and precious things. They have made many widows in the midst of her. They have profaned my holy things." In the Old Testament, the Hebrew people spent 70 years exiled in Babylon before they could return and rebuild Jerusalem. We had 70 hard years too, without freedom to worship.
Yet in our bondage, our God has not forsaken us, but has extended loving kindness to us in the sight of kings.
Дорогой наш Иисус Христос, Отче, мы верим и знаем, что сейчас Ты с нами.
So the church building was returned, and after 70 years, Christians will again worship and serve the Lord here.
Так, родилась в 12 году при царе.
I was born in 1912, when the Tsar was still on the throne. Odessa was more than 100 years old, and it was a prosperous port city. Even then we feared the government, and life was difficult. But Odessa had culture and beauty. It was much like other European cities. And then came the dark times. In 1905, the mutiny on battleship Potemkin took place in Odessa harbor. More revolutions, wars, confusion and tragedy followed. My parents were poor. We lived in the village of Malinovka. All 12 children mowed by hand and threshed grain with pitchforks. Papa was killed in World War I. In the 1930s, Stalin forced collective farms, and famine came. My husband, children and I fled to Odessa. All we wanted was to keep our milk cow and grow our own food. Under the Nazi occupation, my little son was shot in the city street before my eyes, and the Romanians put me in prison for 5 months. My husband died in World War II. Later, my daughter also died. Millions of our country's people died. Some of us never even knew when our family members died or where they were buried. Many people became communists. Others gave up in despair. But I remembered about God. My mother prayed day and night for us. When I was 15, I loved to sing in the choir of our village church. Then Komsomol destroyed my church, the same young communists who dynamited the Orthodox cathedral right here in Odessa. That was 1926. But all these years, I keep the icon from my parents' wedding. I suffer and I pray. God did not forget us. He did not forget the future of Ukraine.
As a school kid and a student, I was taught that God does not exist, but seeing the beautiful churches and things which were attached to religion made me think that God is too beautiful to be denied.
I was on drugs for 6 years, and I thought there was no way out of it. But my parents and my mom and my brother, they were Christians, and I knew about God from their stories. So this is how I became to Christ. Now I'm free, and this is how it happened to me. It was a miracle.
Ukraine has a 1,000-year-old heritage of Christianity. The atheists tried to destroy it. They killed and imprisoned leaders. They tore down thousands of churches and turned hundreds more into gymnasiums and museums. But the gospel of Jesus Christ is rising victorious from the ashes of the Soviet Union.
Through commission, my mother and my brother and my closest friends came to Christ, and if not for American missionaries, my life became so different, and it was like the first ray of dawn when they first came.
In 1993, Mission to the World sent a missionary team to Odessa to form new believers into churches and raise up leaders for them. They began a school, seminary, outreaches to teens and university students, and aid to widows and orphans. The good news expanded to other towns.
And now God, in just 5 years, changed everything incredibly, and we started the church with just 3 or 4 people, and now we have 5 churches all over Ukraine.
The church here in Odessa is like the hub of a wheel, and the people are like its spokes, reaching out to the community and beyond.
Senior citizens here in Odessa in particular and in Ukraine in general suffer materially very badly, since their pensions are very low and they can't afford to pay the rent for the apartments, and they hardly can save any money even for food.
So the church started a feeding center to meet this need.
All the people who come here, most of all, they are pensioners, and it is the great help to us. So we are very much obliged to you. And now we have God in our souls. Thank you very much.
So I think when we have this new building, it would be more convenient for us to organize this center here. We could equip a good kitchen here. People could see the God's mercy, that they are fed in this. This is not only the house of worship, but is also the house of mercy.
Tanya Kravchenko and her brother Sasha reach out to people with addictions, a serious epidemic here.
And now I can help others because I can understand what they feel.
We are mostly working with drug addicts, but also with people who have alcoholic problems. Our goal is to show them the way out of this through Jesus Christ.
It is our dream and our prayer that we have this church building.
Sergei and Marina Orzinsky volunteer with orphans in Odessa. They teach creation and the Bible and bring children to church activities. After losing her mother-in-law to cancer, Helen Ahipchuk received evangelism explosion training and began regular visits to women's hospitals.
I just graduated from the university, and I know that for young people, talking with them about Jesus, it's very hard because people that usually work there are from cults, and when you tell them that you are Presbyterian or just Christian, they don't understand what you mean. And so having the building would really help and would bring a lot of respect to us.
I'm just thrilled about the acoustics here in this building. When I started discovering for myself all the Christian hymns, it was like a treasure island for me.
It's somewhat the equivalent of a concert hall, and that using that we could almost make the music a real ministry and draw people into the church using just the music.
When I think what we could do here, we could have a church library, a seminary library, maybe even a bookstore or a print shop.
We have too many children of different ages, and it's really difficult to teach them. We don't have enough room.
It would be so great to have this new church building where I can bring my older brother with me and invite all my friends to this new Sunday school.
We can do much more in this church than we did in the place we rented before, because we can invite people for services, we can have ministries, and we can do very much good in the glory of God through this building.
The believers pay by the hour for the rented auditorium. Advertising is forbidden. The deacons must set up from scratch for each meeting. Other ministry activities are scattered across the city, squeezed into a little office here, a small apartment there.
People will look at our church as having historical roots, as belonging here in Ukraine, not as a cult that comes in from outside. It gives us credibility in the community. It's located across from a university, and there's a park right across from it in another direction. And people know about this church. You can see paintings of it in the city park where they sell paintings. And now people will come to see what the new group is that's in this building, and they will hear the message of Jesus Christ and be able to come to know Him personally as a result.
We have a building, but we have no funds to use, which could be used to restore it. Would you help us for the glory of God, for the glory and happiness of people in Ukraine?
Now is the time. People's hearts are open. Ukrainian leaders are trained and already serving with joy. But in their troubled economy, they can't restore the glory alone. Architectural studies are complete. Skilled workers stand ready. Church reconstruction will provide needed jobs, stimulate Odessa's economy, and change people's lives forever. You can become a partner with your Ukrainian brothers and sisters. You can pray and give and come on a work team. Your family can buy a door, lay a brick, or restore a window. Your church can refinish the floor, restore a ceiling, or put the cross back on the steeple.
It's so good to know that far, far away, across the ocean, there is a great country where people do think of us and do care for us.
It will take $834,000 to restore the church. But if Ukrainians and Americans work together, it is possible.
So I want to tell American Christians how deeply grateful we all are for everything you do for us.
We are very thankful to our brothers and sisters in the United States and all the churches that are willing to help us.
Thank you very much for helping us with the church building. It's very, very important for us.
My neighbors ask, how can I have hope after everything that has happened to me? I tell them it is because of the feeding center, the church, and God.